Wivo, legal tech for Africa.
Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to everyone tuning in from across the globe. Welcome to another powerful edition of Wivo, Legal Tech for Africa, live where we unpack the legal, ethical, and technological challenges shaping our world. Today's session takes us straight into one of the most pressing questions of our time. What happens when artificial intelligence crosses into the world of crime? From AI-driven fraud and cybercrime to deepfakes and autonomous systems being used by criminals, society is entering uncharted legal territory. If a machine can act in ways once reserved for humans, who should bear the blame when things go wrong? To help us navigate this complex and fascinating topic, we are honored to be joined by none other but Ilieyeennur Ibrahim, an emerging AI ethics and policy researcher and a PhD candidate at the University of Glasgow. Ili, welcome to Wivo Legal Tech for Africa.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Thank you so much. I know, of course, together we'll explore criminal AI, unlocking criminal responsibility in the age of AI. I mean, this is a conversation at the intersection of law, ethics, and technology. So stay with us, share your thoughts in the comments, and let's dive in. Ili, of course, this is your area of research. So I want us to start by setting the scene. You know, AI has become a part of everything we do now, you know, from finance to policing. I mean, in every aspect of our lives, we are involved with AI. So in your view, what makes AI fundamentally different from past technologies when we talk about criminal responsibility?
Oh, this is a very good question, actually, because we have to differentiate what makes AI so special than whatever was used before.
Yes.
You know? So what are we trying to differentiate? Let's take the simple differentiation that we can make, the simple comparison that we can make. For example, cars that don't have AI, you can predict what they're supposed to do because you are in control. You have that ability.
Yes.
There's a clear locus of responsibility on the driver. But for AVs, autonomous vehicles now, for example, Tesla and other autonomous vehicles, there seems to be always this kind of malfunction where they aren't able to detect certain things that are on the road. And because of the fact that it's not limited, okay? Humans still have to operate the vehicle properly, but a lot of people put it on, let it go by itself autonomously. So the problem is that you can't predict how it's going to react in certain situations, and that's what could be the most simplest technological differentiation that I can make. Other types of technologies that we use for crimes, that are used for crimes, for example, guns and stuff like that, you can actually predict when a person would be using it, but you don't know how an autonomous weaponized drone, for example, would target its victims. those are the type of things that we have to take into account, and those are the type of things that differentiate AI. So systems that can operate autonomously because they have learning based, they can actually make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
They can generate output, and these things can't properly be explicitly foreseen by their creator, by their developer. This unpredictability is what complicates liability. This is because outcomes are not reducible to clear acts. They are not reducible to clear intentions or negligence by a human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it also comes to the fact of opacity of your decision making. With most prior tools, you can see if there's a failure in the mechanism, or if there is a human misuse. But it's a little bit harder with AI because there's the problem of having a black box. You're not really sure, and sometimes even the developers can't be sure of what's going to come out from this type of output. AI systems, especially deep learning, black boxes, make it hard to explain why a decision is made sometimes, and this could have translate to a problem in terms of transparency. This lack of explainability undermines the traditional criminal law principles, which relies on establishing certain elements in finding guilt.
We'll come to that later, definitely. But some of the things you mentioned that has triggered my mind is that you mentioned actors, and it's like AI is being triggered. It is not acting on its own. It's like someone prompting it to act. So should AI be treated simply as a tool in the hands of humans? Or are we reaching a stage where AI can be seen as an independent actor with some level of accountability?
Yeah, so this question is not a simple answer, because AI can be treated as a tool, but on the other side, we can't hold AI just as a tool. Treating AI only as a tool misses how modern systems actually act. And treating it as a fully independent actor, it actually raises deep legal and moral problems. So a more defensible approach is to actually treat AI as an autonomy continuum system. It requires a hybrid type of accountability. So because of the fact that AI could be unpredictable, that is why there is some type of differentiation that must be made from previous criminal systems, how criminal acts are deduced in that sense. So treating AI as just a tool kind of falls short. Right now, I would like to also highlight that there are two differences in what crimes can be created by AI. There are traditional crimes that are enhanced by the use of AI, and then there are novel crimes. When it comes to traditional crimes, for example, when it comes to fraud, deepfakes, blackmails, and the sort, those type of things are enhanced traditional crimes, and usually the courts are more equipped to deal with those, even though there's a little bit lacking in the department of finding faults, in the department of placing liability, especially intention. Intention is a big question in criminal law, whether the person prompting the AI or doing certain acts actually wanted to test the waters or wanted to create some kind of criminal activity towards another person. That's what we want. Those are traditionally enhanced crimes. And usually the courts have the ability to look at the traditional laws. But when it comes to when the AI comes with its own acts, with its own prompts, something that a lot in the field of robotics, they anticipate this kind of problem a lot because of the ability for the AI to generate in its own language additional data that was not yet present in its training data.
So
treating it as a tool only or an individual person by itself. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No, it's fine.
it should be hybrid. It should be a hybrid interpretation, and that's what's so unique about this.
I mean, this is a very, interesting area of the law, because traditionally, like you said, when we want to establish criminal responsibility, there are traditional, there are established rules to look at. Of course, in our own system, the common law system, we have to establish the mens rea and the actus reus.
Yeah.
But here we have something that predicts on its own, without taking or getting from the data that, like you said, that it was trained on, and it becomes difficult, especially for the side of the prosecutors. So
Yes.
I mean, most of what we've been talking now may seem abstract to viewers.
Yeah.
Let's try to see how best we can practicalize it a bit. Can you draw the minds of our viewers to certain examples, real world examples that we can draw our minds to?
Okay, so there are a bunch of real world examples, some that you can already predict by yourself. You can already see this happening and widespread. For example, easiest example is fraud and scams. So what is so unique with the type of fraud and scams that are enabled by AI? It's the fact that the speed and the scale of these actors using these AI systems, the scale of it to fraud and scam. Usually in the past, the one thing that you can identify if it's a fraud or a scam is because of this is very generic, but it's when, for example, if you have an phishing email, there will be a bunch of grammatical errors.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
With the ability of AI, they can actually personalize your message and get your data. They can create deepfake emails, making it seem like it's a legitimate email from somebody, either either from a company. And you don't feel bad if you as an individual, you fell for this, because companies have also fallen for this.
Yeah, of course.
Like a lot of them have.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I mean, in one of our lessons in my cybercrime class with Dr. Jones, we were given an exercise, and the papers were handed out to all of us in the classroom. I don't know if you took that class.
I was in security.
Okay, you were in surveillance and security. Okay, fine.
Yes,
so naive as I was, we were asked to differentiate which ones are fakes and which ones are real. So I didn't know that it was a trick. Actually, every bit of those papers were fake, developed by cyber criminals. So I mean, you don't tell which one is real and which one is actually fake or like you said, phishing. So how scary is this? Anyways, continue with your thought.
Yeah. It's very scary, to be honest. Actually, they don't only use it to gain your information. They also use it. They also gain information. They generate information to commit fraud, identity and voice fraud, for example. There's a company in the US that lost about 20 billion.
Wow.
Due to synthetic identity fraud. Banks are falling for this. AI, for some reason, they can generate legitimate license and backgrounds, create backgrounds for fictitious people, where malicious people are using that to create bank accounts, opening social securities, and they are abusing it to the max. So this is the thing, that even high security businesses are not falling, but victims towards these crimes. And this is something that if you are somebody who just clicks whatever they want on the internet, this will be very scary for you. You should be very alert of what's going on the internet right now. Other than that, misinformation is also a big thing nowadays. Misinformation and disinformation are two of the things that generative AI should also poses a threat to. So I would like to differentiate between misinformation and disinformation. Disinformation is when you when you intentionally want to create wrong information for the purpose of influencing other people. But misinformation is when you don't know, but you believe that it is correct, so you spread it that way. And the thing about AI is, you can just type any prompt, even into ChatGPT, and it will come out with a very convincing argument. A lot of professionals even fall for this. There are multiple reports from multiple countries where lawyers, such as you and me, they've used AI to write their cases, write their briefs, and they've given false cases that have that AI just generated on its own.
Yeah,
Sometimes
and
these,
Professor Burkhardt was a guest in one of my episodes. He mentioned that.
yeah,
I mean, the UK lawyer who, because
yeah,
AI sometimes gives you fake, because it's trained to give results. So sometimes
that's
even if it doesn't know, it gives you fake results. So there's one incident where a lawyer in the UK submitted wrong cases. I mean, hypothetical cases, to say the least.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's happening a lot, and with the younger generation. So the thing is, it is also a crime. People think that it's not going to hurt anybody. It's just something that can be rectified. It's not. It's misleading the court. You're misleading the court. You can get fined, you can get punished for this type of mispractice. So that's the thing. People don't think that people don't think that it can lead to criminal sanctions, but it is actually much deeper than that. Misinformation, of course, you should, and including all your viewers, you should know how dangerous misinformation is, especially when it comes to pushing certain agendas, political ideology. If you're not able to do your research by yourself, and AI can make anything seem like
Real.
it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, not only just text, but they can also manipulate videos, they can manipulate voices. A lot of politicians, a lot of celebrities and public figures have had their identities, their speeches being synthesized because of AI.
Yeah.
A lot of people have had that type of problem going on in their country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
So
yeah, this brings a lot of issues and problem for prosecutors like you. I don't know, were you a criminal lawyer before?
yeah, criminal lawyer.
Okay, I mean, this brings a lot of trouble for you guys, and because I mean, the way I'm seeing it right now, it's so crazy. I mean, there's a lot of things going in my mind, from organized cybercrime groups, like you said, to lone actors. Criminals are increasingly weaponizing AI. So what do you think are the biggest threats law enforcement should be paying attention to right now?
Ooh, the biggest threats that law enforcement should be paying attention to
Yes.
right now, I would say social engineering and fraud are one of the biggest concerns. Disinformation and destability. I'm listing them down, but I will elaborate.
Sure.
Disinformation, of course. Synthetic identity, as I've explained before, and weaponized AI in the physical world. So that's actually what you can see going around right now. It's very interesting to get into. So first of all, when going into social engineering and fraud, so deepfake voices, videos, impersonations of executives, family members, officials, trying to trick people. Usually these are involving money scams, but it can go towards a higher level. It can lead towards some type of terrorist movement. And that is why law enforcement should really pay attention to the fact that deepfakes have this type of ability. There should be prescribed policies to stop even for entertainment purposes. This should not be allowed because it should not be encouraged. AI written phishing, that's perfectly tailored. AI can create multilingual documents, the multilingual emails.
Yeah.
you wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even detect what the problem is, and you cannot be contextually aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
And secondly, when it goes to disinformation and destabilization, I'm sorry. Political content. Usually politicians
That's
use this.
that's the most important
Yeah.
part for us here in Africa. The
Yes.
political misinformation about it, because
Yes.
we are in the era where AI will determine political decisions, especially with deepfakes. I am so scared that the next election in my country will be determined by deepfakes, because imagine just with Photoshop how people were misinformed.
Yes,
You
that's
know,
true. That was with Photoshop, and
yeah,
now how much easier it is. I've heard so many horror stories about how politicians use AI to push their personal agendas during elections, during protests. And it's not just specific to Africa or any countries in Africa, but all around the world. This is the importance of having multicultural friends, so you can get the scope on what's happening all around the world. Yes, this is a global phenomenon and something that we all have to take heed of.
yeah.
And law enforcement really have to put down policies for this. For example, in the EU, they noted in Article 5, if I'm not mistaken, that any photos or any multimedia that has been generated
By
using
AI.
AI,
Yeah,
they have to label it.
must be
You
labeled.
must label
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the things moving into the positive direction.
I agree.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
something that all countries have to try to adapt.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ili, let's take the conversation now to what many people were waiting for. Criminal responsibility, attribution and responsibility. So when assuming AI causes a harm, who should be held accountable? Is it the developer, the deployer, the end user, or someone else, or the AI itself? Can we bring the AI to court?
Yeah. So that's a very good question, and a lot of scholars are actually debating on this, whether AI should be granted personhood or not. But this is not a like a very clear cut answer. I cannot give you a very clear cut answer because harm from AI, it's rarely caused by a single actor, to be honest, unless it's like the traditional crimes when it comes to fraud and stuff. And traditional liability doctrines, they don't neatly map onto autonomous distributed systems.
Yeah.
Okay. For example, the things that you have to consider are like control. Who participated in the ability to influence the AI's behavior at the time that the harm is created? If it was a prompt by the actor, by the user,
Yeah.
it's very simple. The user might be liable, but there are instances where chatbots are actually developed for fraudulent purposes, for
Yes.
malicious purposes.
Yes.
And thus sometimes it's not the user who prompts the AI, but it's the chat box that is influencing the user to create some type of harm.
Like the
And
follow-up questions in these chatbots. I mean, because when you ask it something, at the end of the result, it will ask you, can I do this and this for you? I mean, so assuming there's a criminal chatbot that will ask that, I mean, you ask it for something, let's say, for example, how can I make $200,000 in 5 minutes, and then it will give you business ideas. But at the end of the day, can I also help you, show you a way to steal it from the bank?
Oh,
yeah, I mean, something like that. You can't rule it out. I mean, there are sophisticated models out there that can do that.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. And to give like another example is this boy 17-year-old boy in the UK who's talking in a chat box, and he got until the point where the chat box started to tell him how to harm his parents.
Whoa.
Which which is one of the big cases that I feel shows the potential of AI to actually garner that type of danger in society nowadays, especially for kids who don't know any better and don't know what they're talking to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to look at the fact of whether it's foreseeable. Is it foreseeable for the user to see that their questions would lead to certain outcomes? Not their questions only, but like their actions using AI. And or whether the developer comes up with a type of system and can foresee that these type of systems will come up with dangerous prompts. These type of systems would be enabled in these type of situations. Usually, like ChatGPT and a lot of other AI systems, they do have this type of regulatory policy to stop their AI from going into those harmful suggestions.
Yeah.
Those are the things that are prompted in AI, but it doesn't stop them from giving false information. To be honest, it just stops them from giving them harmful ideas.
I mean, it's so scary as you explaining it. Sounds so scary. Anyways, I mean, viewers, if you're just tuning in, this is your program, Wivo, Legal Tech for Africa. Today we are looking at criminal AI, who we should hold accountable when a crime is committed, either by the AI or using AI. And to help us dissect that, we are in the company of Ilieyeennur Ibrahim. I call her Ili. So if you want to participate, you can, of course, the comment section is for you. Feel free to add your comments or questions or observation. And our guest is here. Hopefully, she would be in the position to answer them. So, Ili, let's continue the conversation. Now, at the beginning of your of this conversation this evening, you established some of the legal doctrines, and from your submissions, I realized some of these doctrines are under strain. These traditional doctrines that we used to establish criminal responsibilities, such as intention, recklessness, the action itself, So criminal law has always relied on these ideas like mens rea and actus reus. How do these doctrines hold up in the AI age?
Yeah, that's going straight to the heart of the criminal law puzzle.
Good.
So the classic pillars of criminal responsibility, which is mens rea, and for those who don't know, mens rea, in simple terms, it's the guilty mind, having a guilty mind, and actus reus, having a guilty act. They face some serious problems when AI is involved, and there's a bunch of things that I would like to unpack in this. So traditionally, to convict someone, the prosecution has to prove that the actor has a guilty state of mind.
Let me see if I still remember it. Actus non facit trium nisi mensit rea. Okay, I remember the Latin. Anyways, continue. I'm very sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
No, there's no crime without a guilty mind.
Yes.
So AI lacks in intent. So this is going into the novel crimes that are posed by AI. So when it comes to traditional crimes, you probably could establish a mens rea because the user probably already prompts the AI or use the AI in a way that they would already foresee harm, foresee crime. But when an AI acts autonomously, we cannot prove that it has intent. We can't prove that it knows anything about in the human sense. If an AI commits fraud or violence, for example, if robotics commits a violence, or if a drone blows up somewhere, it doesn't there's no mind to assess whether they are wrong or not. So, and it also dilutes human intent. In AI-driven crimes, the human operator might not intend that exact harm. For example, if a car, an AV, and you are not controlling it properly and the AI hits a pedestrian, should the driver be the one who is responsible for the death? or is it the manufacturer? Is it the developer? Is it the deployer? So it's hard to hold the AI system in fault in that type of situation. But if you are a driver, even though you're using an AV, you still have to be vigilant on the road. I'm just saying this for
Yeah, but I
precaution.
mean, let me hold you there, Ili. I mean, there are even in the menswear there are stages. We have, if we cannot establish intention, we would have to establish two other elements under the menswear, which is recklessness and negligence. And by definition, recklessness doesn't amount to intention. It has to be by way of perhaps not foreseen or exercising due care or skills. In that regard, can we attribute responsibility to someone? I mean, at least someone should be responsible. Let's go back to your example of the AV car. Yeah. If someone died from the accident of that.
That's an example of negligence.
Yes.
It could be an example of negligence.
Good.
Yes. There is the ability to attribute to somebody. Usually it's an actual human being. The question is whether we can attribute it to an autonomous thing, an autonomous being.
But at least someone is responsible.
Yeah, at least somebody is responsible.
Okay.
But a lot of debate is going on towards whether AI should be granted personhood, because as I said, there are some instances where AI acts on its own, and AI is it prompts things that sometimes is not even in its training data. So a lot of some scholars have argued in favor. However, it's really hard for me to side with that because of the fact of diluting the human touch in that kind of sense. Okay, wait, we already talked about mens rea, but we haven't talked about the actus reus yet.
Yes.
So actus reus is the guilty act. So traditionally, a guilty act should be a voluntary act, okay? That you do some type of act to cause harm. But autonomy from AI breaks the direct causation. So if an AI agent acts independently, whose act is it actually? So if an autonomous being acts on its own, whose act is it? Is it the autonomous being? Should we actually grant personhood? Yeah. That's the question. So the delegated actions, whether a user, the question is whether the user set the AI in motion, or whether the AI just acts on its own. So
isn't that a point for scholars that are arguing we should attribute personhood to AI? Because in criminal law, actions must be willed, and assuming even if it's involuntarily done by a human being, you cannot entirely attribute it to the human being. So in order to establish criminal responsibility, is that not an argument for those that favor attributing personhood to the AI?
Yeah, but I believe this argument is a little bit, it's very interesting if we go in depth into it also, because it also kind of opens a floodgate. If we can attribute criminal liability towards AI, they can have their own legal personhood. Wouldn't that give opportunity for more malicious use? For example, some AV cars have been used by drug dealers to send drugs to certain locations. So if drugs are found in the car, and the car is usually it's not registered, they have some type of ability to defraud the license or the ownership of the vehicle. And some drug dealers also use drones. So if that is the situation, are the AVs now, or are the drones now the drug dealers? Are we holding them accountable?
That's a very good question. Yeah.
It's hard for me because in the end, if we hold autonomous beings as accountable, does that really contribute to societal justice? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, what we're going to do to the autonomous beings, autonomous vehicles, autonomous machineries, what should be done to them? We're just going to power them down. Is that the way we're gonna deal with it?
I know. I
This,
know. Yeah.
but don't worry. You call me back in 3 years, and we'll see if my opinions have changed.
And I mean, I'm not. I understand where you're coming from, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of unanswered question at the moment, and I mean, we all, everybody is trying, policymakers, even the developers themselves, everybody's trying to find an answer. That is why it sounds so scary with the way it's going. You know, it's like even though when we try to say it's scary, I mean, we're looking to appear as if we want to forestall innovation, which is not the case. We're just scared of our humanity. We're scared of the sanctity of society.
That's why I proposed in the beginning that we have a hybrid liability model, that
Okay.
not only should AI systems be not found guilty, but have some sort of liability, but it should be attached to a certain person. It should be attached to
Yeah.
some type of corporation.
Of course, I'm in total agreement with you. I think, I mean, that is my concern. There must be someone responsible when things go
Must
wrong.
be.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
true.
yeah. So, anyways,
Yeah.
now beyond law, there is this ethical question: how do we stop AI from becoming a safe haven for criminals? You know, while still, encouraging innovation? Because for me, I am worried. I see those who look at many regulations as the American view as a way of stifling innovation. But how do we ensure that we stop AI from becoming a safe haven for criminals?
Yeah. So that's the thing. We have to also think about the risks of AI so that it's not used for malicious purposes like this.
Yeah.
So for in terms of ethics, we should actually avoid the ability for those to come up with malicious AI systems, building systems that have that foreseeably can empower crime. So this is where I believe that law can branch into this type of policy in which all AI developers should conform to certain policy regulations in order to prevent the ability for others to abuse it.
Mm-hmm.
And we should also increase in accountability, to be honest, when it comes to developers, deployers, and users. There are certain degrees of responsibility that each should bear in proportionality, so that these type of AI systems and the usage of these AI systems are controlled, and they can still be benefited from.
Yeah.
Yes, we should also, in some way, increase transparency. Increasing transparency in to specifically explain how AIs are prompt, how they come up with certain outcomes, and this will be very helpful, especially for example, in evidence finding, for audit trials, investigate misuse. These are very essential elements to ensure that the principles of ethics is actually kept within the usage of AI. And I believe that victims of AI, although now they might not believe that criminal law is a route for them, but victims of AI should have appropriate and clear routes for redress. A lot of people think that when they are frauded, in terms of email scams, deepfake phishing, and stuff like that, they can only go to civil claims. But I believe that more awareness should go to the ability to report these cases.
Yeah,
So that,
because it's criminal. Yeah.
yes, because it's criminal.
Yeah.
And also, when the statistics are there, usually enforcement would be focused more on that department. There's a lot of countries that are lacking in the IT department in terms of investigating deep fakes, frauds that are done online, cybercrime, cyber attacks that are done online. There's a lot of deficiency in this area. So with more reporting and more awareness on this, policymakers would be more efficient in deploying their enforcement to curb this type of issue. But also with policy and putting out some regulation, we must also try to not stifle innovation. There must be a balance that has to be struck between
That balance
security.
is the issue now.
Yeah.
Balancing
Yes.
innovation and protecting the people. That is where it's a very thin line, you know. I mean, that is
Yes.
where the problem lies now. But you mentioned so many things. You see, whilst you were talking, I was smiling. You mentioned the lack of capacity, you know, to investigate these crimes because of some technical deficiency, which my country is suffering from. And the worst of it, before we go to the lack of capacity, I mean, when policymakers are making laws now, we must not be far from the reality. We should know that we are in an age that is different from those that were living in 2015. I mean, there's been a lot of difference in this past 10 years. There's been a lot of development, and that way I was so. I mean, I don't want to sound bad, but if I'm allowed to use the word pissed, I was so pissed when my country, excuse my French viewers, when my country had the opportunity to look at our laws and try to do some reforms, and then we behave as if we don't know what age we were living. I mean, when I saw by way of background, we now have the new Criminal Procedure Act in my country, which repeals a 1965 law. Imagine 1965 to 2025. That's a lot of years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, and now we have the opportunity to live in modern times, but yet we still missed so many opportunities. I mean, some of us raised the concern. We did policy papers. We write. We go to social media. We shouted. We clamored. We yelled. Whatever language you want us to see, but all fall on deaf ears. So I mean, it's when policy makers are now making policies or new laws, what do you think they should be thinking about? I mean, now that we are living in the age of AI, as far as criminal law is concerned.
So when we're talking about these type of policies, most of them they have to look at the severity of these type of attacks.
Yeah.
They don't. There's a lot of the thing is, a lot of them are actually very focused on a lot of other things. When it comes to AI, it somehow gets lost in translation, lost in the background. It's for later frameworks. It's for later policymakers to handle. But right now, when it comes to policy making, I believe that there should be like technical safeguards.
Yeah.
Embedded, like the ability of, like the EU implemented. Okay, they embedded filters, watermarkings, some kind of law that makes it mandatory for you to label certain things as AI. This can stop propaganda. This can help to stop the disinformation and misinformation efforts of malicious individuals. They should also focus on pushing developers to make more transparent systems, transparency in their recording, in their reporting, so that it is an auditable document that the government can actually govern. Because right now, a lot of governments are in the dark with the policy and the abilities of developers. All they know is to invest in AI systems, but they don't actually understand how to audit them. And this is because of the lack of transparency. They might need to require that AI black boxes are that type of problems are handled by the AI developers for high-risk systems, so that they can trace misuse, and watermarks for synthetic media to fight the deepfakes. And they also should prioritize in licensing. And this is because we have to treat AI like it is a powerful tool.
Yeah.
So we have, when it comes to licensing, it could give the opportunity for us to filter out open use of low risk applications. Licensing can help us to restrict high risk domains.
Yeah.
Bioweapons, for example, autonomous weapons, for example. These are where licensing should actually take place. I'm not sure whether the state itself has a license to come up with a bunch of autonomous weapons, but this is something that probably should be not only on a state level, but on an international level. I feel like governments all around the world have to come up with this type of treaty, where to come up with such dangerous weaponry that is powered by AI must have some type of license for check and balance purposes. There should also be laws for shared responsibility, incentives, make it compulsory for insurance of deployers of high risks AI to have that type of responsibility.
Yeah.
To participate in insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And international cooperation is also one of a big factor that I would like to stress on, because AI, it's not a one state problem. It could cross borders. And that's why I believe that this is one of the laws that is very, very unique, very dangerous, and every government actually has to pay like hard attention to.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
this brings us to the continent now. This is a program for Africa. What unique risks and opportunities does Africa face when it comes to criminal AI? I mean, Africa has a very similar situation, I believe, like your country in Malaysia. I mean, especially in areas like mobile money and digital finance. I don't know if you guys have mobile money. We have what we call mobile money as a transfer of money from one mobile number to the other.
Yeah. We don't have like mobile money, like transfer of number to another, but we have other type of payment methods.
Digital finance, fintech.
Digital financing,
Yeah.
So when it comes to mobile money, I believe in Africa, it's one of the backbones of the financial inclusion programs in Africa.
In fact, it's one of the backbone of the economy right now. Because I mean, that's what, when I was applying for a visa, and then I was required to give a bank statement. Then I went to my mobile company and asked them for a statement. And then I wrote a letter to the consular that in Africa, we don't normally do banking. We put our money in our mobile phones. I said, yeah, I mean, that's our own model of banking,
I really wonder how your credit scores are.
They are very good. They are very good. They're very good.
Research on that.
Trust me, they are very good. Yeah.
But like when it comes to AI and frauds, the fact that they, from the beginning, they can deepfake voices, SMS phishings are not a problem for them. They usually target users in local languages.
Yeah.
So Yeah, so it's not a problem for them.
The other day, I was with a colleague, and then I did something with with ChatGPT. I spoke to it in Creole, and then it replied with a female voice in Creole, and my colleague was like, AI did talk Creole in a language. Does it talk our language? Does it speak our language? I was like, yeah, it does. So it's, I mean, people are not even aware. Yeah.
It's becoming very advanced right now. That's really hard. So the disadvantage will fall upon those with less education about AI scams and those from older generations and younger generations. So actually, everybody is prone to to these frauds. So yeah, AI bots, they can automate scams.
Yeah.
Depending on the customer basis, they can personalize their scams according to whoever you are. So if it doesn't matter if you're gullible or if you are a little bit more strong in the head, it you could fall victim to one of these scams. And the challenge is that many users are first-time digital adapters,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So they have limited digital literacy, which makes them like really vulnerable towards these attacks, and that's really a problem. Not only in Africa, actually, there's a lot of third world countries, especially in my country also, where we first tried to introduce that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
that
I mean,
is a
yeah.
problem.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's it. I mean, it's so scary, especially when we have a huge amount of the population being gullible and unaware of these things. People are really unaware of, especially with these scams, this phishing. There are a lot of victims every day. There was one time before I left for my master's degree, there was one a scamming scheme that came to my country and scamming people, and it collected a lot of money, and I mean, yeah, these were all computer enabled syndicates and crimes. Anyways, time is not our friend. We're running out of time, so we should now starting to look at the future. So in the future, do you think we'll ever need to grant AI some form of legal personality to resolve accountability gaps?
Yeah. So when it comes to that, as I've mentioned, I believe that we should have some type of hybrid, some type of ability to probably not fully give legal personhood,
Mm-hmm.
but limited, tailored legal constructions, which might be useful to fill the gaps in legal policies. Full personalities for AI, it actually creates problems than
Mm-hmm.
it solves. It becomes a targeted legal instrument, it becomes asset holders. People use it for malicious purposes in a more, I would say, a more sophisticated way, as I talked about the drug dealers and what has been happening in weaponized AI. So full legal personality could be attractive, but it's dangerous. Now it's attractive because it looks like a neat fix. You can sue the entity, the AI,
Mm-hmm.
for certain acts.
Yeah.
But it's dangerous because it misplaces our morality, the moral language. So legal personhood normally would assume some kind of capacity for interest, duties, or agency. Current AIs, they lack consciousness, intentions, moral understanding. So as I said, punishment or blame would be nothing. It wouldn't make any difference towards them. There's no morality in placing blame on an AI.
So, I mean, that would be the problem. If we grant AI personality, what would be the punishment for it? Stop
Yeah,
working,
what
kill
is the
it.
punishment for it?
Yeah.
Kill it.
Yeah.
Stop the
Are we
search.
going to sentence the AI to death?
Yeah.
What
Are we
what?
going to?
Yeah. What would death be like to it?
Yeah, exactly. But what we can do is go back to the developer or the deployer and hold them accountable for what their AI is doing.
But they did not predict that it's going to do. I mean, it's so complex, you know.
It's very complex. It's very complex. And then when you do like when you put that responsibility on the developers and the deployers, it's whether they should have foreseen that the AI could have done that. But that's why I believe that there should be some kind of hybrid measure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have no idea how to hold the AI responsible, because how are we supposed to imprison them, for example?
Yeah, we
What are
hope
we
by the
supposed
end
to
of your PhD, I mean, you could have gotten
Yeah.
an answer.
May I get the answer for that?
Yeah. Anyways, if you could, if you had to give one piece of advice to our parliamentarians, our policymakers in Africa today, you know, about preparing for criminal AI, what would it be?
Yeah. So one of the things that I would say for all policymakers around the world, I would actually urge them to make some kind of cooperative framework, because AI now, it's not a singular crime. It travels across borders faster. A lot of people think that deepfakes and phishing only occurs in one specific area. One person can only do it in a specific area. But when I say that it creates a larger scale, it doesn't mean that it's just faster in that region. It goes beyond borders. It can cross borders. So I believe that there's a cooperative framework that AI policymakers should actually sit down and talk about. Criminals are already actually coordinating across borders. So, for example, like mobile money scams, deepfake frauds, cybercrimes, these don't stop at national borders. So when it comes to even the problems of misinformation and disinformation, that's the problem that happens across borders. Just because this politician is from, for example, the United States, or from Africa, from some state in Africa, from Malaysia, from Indonesia, it doesn't mean somebody from across the world could not come up with some type of generative AI for misinformation and disinformation against that politician, against that public figure, against certain celebrities. So these are cross-border crimes which highlight how dangerous AI generated and AI crimes can actually be.
Yeah.
Not only that, but there are some type of crimes that centralized states cannot just deal with alone. As I said, weaponized AI, that's something that has to have an international treaty, international framework, so that we can curb this misuse of generative AI, not only by individuals, but also by states.
I mean, perfect. That's a great one, Ili. Thank you so much for coming to the show and sharing your insight. I mean, you've been wonderful. I mean, I've learned a lot, and I hope and believe our viewers have also learned a lot as far as criminal responsibility is concerned. I mean, there's a lot of unanswered questions, of course, and we hope that during the conduct of your PhD research, you would get answers for them, and we wish you the very best. So viewers, thank you so much for tuning in from YouTube, from Facebook. You guys are the life of this show, keeping us coming live every Friday. So on behalf of Ili and I, we want to say thank you for tuning in and to listening. And until we meet again next Friday, I have been your humble host, Mohamed Ogiba, aka Wivo B. Thank you so much. And this is where we sign out. Bye-bye, Ili. You want to say bye to our viewers?
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you learned something.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
The replay will come out tonight. Before we go, the screen you're seeing, scan to donate. Whatever little we have, so please just scan and send it, because that keeps us moving, that keeps us going. And without your little funds to help us, we won't be able to come back to you next Friday. So thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.